Anyone fancy a smoothie?
Hello everyone, today we'll be discussing some of Splatoon 2's in-depth lore and the secrets behind the screams in the Octo Samurai boss fight.
We must all emphasise that this video will contain spoilers for Splatoon 2's story mode and the Octo expansion. Hope you enjoy. Part of Agent 4's mission is to retrieve the Great Zappfish, is to collect Zappfish and power eggs, which can then be used for gear and weapon up. We know that Zappfish are the power source from Coppers and charge the respawn points, but is that the same for Octolings? As Agent 4 progresses through the Octo Canyon, they take each Zappfish from every stage. With each fish they take, are unknowingly taking away the Octarian's ability to spawn back when splattered? Well, we do know that the bosses, also known as Great Octo Weapons, are powered by Zappfish because at the start of every fight, they are dragged into the enemy ink by a huge tentacle. So it's likely that the rest of Octolings use them for domestic use too. Does this relate to the screams heard in the Octo Samurai boss fight? The Octolings must know that Agent 4 is stealing back the Zappfish, and so these could be the cries of terror from the Octos that know their next splat could be their last. From the Octo expansion, we learn that Octolings have the ability to make objects float, but from the stress from losing power could be making their focus diminish, and thus these flying rocks that they've built their homes on could be falling slowly into the abyss. Other than stealing the Inkling's Zappfish, how did the Octarians even get power before? And how did they still have power when Agent 4 is close to completing the Octo?
Theory 2. The Octolings are booing Agent 4. This next theory is the most placid out of the three we'll be talking about today, and it's the idea that Octolings are booing Agent 4. Following up from my last point, if it's true that Agent 4 is taking away the Octarians' power, then this could be their way of heckling the player. Octolings and Inklings are capable of speech, as we've seen Callie, DJ Octavio, and others speak cohesive sentences. But why do lesser folk decide not to, or are they unable to? Inklings are known to say booyah, help, and this way during online matches, but even then their speech is limited. Would lesser Inklings, and more importantly Octolings, even feel the need to speak since they're trained to fight and not much else? Every commander of the Octolings, whether it be Tata or Octavio, have only been interested in destroying the Inklings, so why would they fund schools of communication when their goals only include conquering? So these screams could in fact be shouts from less superior Octolings at Agent 4, as they're unable to communicate any other way. On the other hand, the sounds that we hear may be comprehensible words that weren't translated. We know that and that mean the same thing, so these noises could be some sort of code in the language of the Octarians. Who knows, it may not even be Octolings speaking. We know that whole other species exist in Splatoon. But is it possible for them to be in danger due to the loss of power? We may never know. Theory 3. This is the most commonly talked about theory behind Splatoon's creepy ambience, and it's the idea that Octolings are being blended alive by Commander Tata. Firstly, to support this theory, we're going to need to establish who exactly this phone guy is. Tata was created approximately 12,000 years ago by a professor, and was tasked to withhold information about why the human race became extinct, and then pass on that info to the next superior life form so they don't repeat what caused the human extinction. He became the commander to his own army of sanitized Octolings and sought to put an end to the Inkling race. But how did he do this? Firstly, he gathered only the strongest of Octolings and through lies and deception convinced them to enter a giant blender. Being blended didn't simply mean going back to the nearest spawn, however, but a natural death whereby the Octolings would never be seen again. From this we can infer that this is in no way a harmless procedure and that the screams are actually from Octolings dying a painful death. But how do we even know that Octolings and Inklings percept pain?
Well, to answer that, we don't. Octolings and Inklings do not have any bones, so we can't infer that they have nervous systems that transmit pain either. But when the player walks in enemy ink, jumps into water, or is splattered, they emit a shout or cry. Whether that's due to the surprise of being sent back to the spawn from a painful experience, we do not know for sure. However, we do know that Inklings and Octolings make noises when they quote-unquote die. So that's evidence enough that if an Octoling was to be blended, they would create a noise similar to this. In fact, there are more than just sounds and screams in the octo samurai fight, and one very noticeable is the sound of a train passing. Trains can be found all over Inkopolis, from Snapper Canal to the back of the plaza in Splatoon 1. But here's one place where trains are most prominent, and that's the Deep Sea Metro. It's unlikely for the screams and the train noises to be originating from two different places, and if by chance that it was the sound of trains from Inkopolis we were hearing, why would Inklings be screaming? So in theory, the most probable answer is that the ambience is derived from the deep depths of the Deep Sea Metro.
Thank you for listening to our theories about the sounds heard in the Octo Samurai boss fight.
Feel free to leave your comments down below if you agree or disagree with what we said, and as always, like, comment and subscribe.